after the Texans rookie minicamp, and I have not seen much of it at all. From what I could tell, it looked like a whole lot of traps, deltoids, and positivity, which is what we've come to expect out of this young guy after only knowing him really for a little while. But everybody just gushes about him. I love him. I think I feel very comfortable saying that. I love him already, and I can't wait to watch him play football. He was given the number 51 a couple days ago. He'll talk about that a little bit in here. And I've got the questions from the reporters. I think every single one of them is audible. And I think like sometimes they might actually be a little too loud. That is my gift unto all of you. Here we go.
Now you've had a couple of, I guess, kind of practices under your belt. What is it like? What are your first impressions of being on the field as a Houston Texan?
Yeah, it's been super fun. It's very exciting. The team has been, everything I could have imagined. The coaches are hyped. They're having energy, and we just feed on that, and we just keep going every day. But the first couple of practices have been really great.
I honestly feel bad for Will Anderson's been awesome and showed like he was genuinely excited to be in the locker room and to have gotten drafted in all these ways. And yet, like, this was a rookie minicamp against other rookies and no pads after the kids played at Alabama for the last 3 years. So I'm sure it was really cool, but he knows it's not the full deal NFL experience yet.
Well, Charlie Knowles and the Houston Chronicle, two separate, totally different questions. Since you've been here, have you had a chance to do anything around Houston?
First part was, since you've been here, have you been able to do anything around Houston?
And I don't know actually the second question.
Yeah, right now I just been all ball right now. Trying to focus on the playbook. Just meeting the team, connecting with those guys. So that's kind of where my focus has been at right now.
And for you, what do you anticipate would be the biggest adjustment? Standing up versus playing in the
He's asking what's going to be the difference between standing up and playing in a three-point stance, which, I mean, he did play in a three-point stance in college. So I'll be interested to hear what this answer is. He played in both stand-up and three-point. But D'Amico has mentioned a few times about putting him in a three-point stance all the time.
Yeah, just being in Alabama, they kind of prepared us for a little bit of everything, hand in the dirt, and playing a 2-point stand. So it just kind of made me versatile. But I'm very excited. However they want to use me, it's just going to be anything I've kind of did at Alabama. So I'm super excited. But just to do anything they need me for the team.
Yeah, and for a guy who's not very big, they would have him line up, head up on the offensive tackle, the four-eye technique, which is like inside the offensive tackle a little bit. And that's actually where I thought his hands were the best. Sometimes when he's rushing around the edge, I don't think he's as fluid and as violent yet. But like where he shows it, where it's really, really good is when he's inside head up versus a really big dude. He knows how to get guys' hands off of him and everything. Like he does the little Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off very, very well. And I think that's a lot of what D'Amico sees is like, hey, when he's working out of that 3-point stance and in that more run mode, he's playing better than a lot of 275-pound guys. He weighs 245, 250, between 245 and 255 or so. So that's exciting to see what he'll be like with full-time work at the 3-point stance.
No, Will down here. Take us through getting here. I mean, coming into the facility, what was D'Amico's approach to it all? Like, what was that like coming in? What message did they have for you all?
Yeah, the message was super simple. Just coming from Bama, I kind of, understood everything he was talking about. Just being intentional, swarming to the ball, having that special, relentless mindset, stuff like that. And, just being a part of the team and being family and being together. That's the biggest message that, he's been trying to express to the team. And it's been kind of easy for me to grasp that, and that's why I'm super excited to be a part of this team.
DJ with ESPN.
I have nothing to add to that. That all sounds like the right message to send Coach D'Amico.
Right now, I just been all ball right now, trying to focus on the playbook, just meeting the team, connecting with those guys. So that's kind of where my focus has been at right now.
DJ with ESPN. Has it hit you? How much has it hit you that you really achieved your dream now that you're out there practicing with the Texans?
Yeah, it hit me, but I haven't arrived yet. I just got here. I haven't did anything yet. I got to earn it. I got to go out there and, get the trust from the guys, keep connecting with them and just, being intentional in everything that I'm doing and working hard. So, yeah, I'm here, but I haven't arrived to where I want to be at yet.
We've talked about this before, but I really do love how humble he is about not having accomplished anything yet. because it's I mean, it's you'd be amazed at how many kids come in, especially from big time schools, and really don't understand that they haven't done anything yet. And it's those are the kids that sometimes it's a bit of a shock to their system. There's other kids, I mean, man, I can remember sometimes like quarterbacks from spread systems that had had really productive college careers. It's a shock to their system that nobody really cares about when they get to the NFL. Defensive lineman, offensive lineman, same thing. So it's not a shock to Will Anderson's system. He very much gets it. It's really cool.
With that being said, how much do you look at the fact that you and your head coach, D'Amico Ryans, are almost, I want to say, the same person, both come from small towns? I mean, if you didn't mention the racetrack, a lot of people would know where Hampton, Georgia was, and him being from Bessemer, Alabama, following in his footsteps, being to where you are today.
He said you wouldn't, and a lot of people wouldn't know where Hampton, Georgia is, or something Alabama. I'm there, and I have no idea what the reference to the racetrack was. So I will Google that afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was super excited. I think that's one of the biggest things that I was hoping and praying God for, is just whatever head coach I get, we have the same mentality. And God blessed me, and I was fortunate enough to be in this program to share that with a coach who has the same mentality as me, who has the same grind, grit, and relentless mindset. So it's going to be easy for me to grasp what he's saying, what he's trying to get across to the team. And like I said, I'm just super excited to be a part of this. It's a big blessing and an opportunity.
And he's talked about this before. He's getting to the point now where he's having to answer maybe like the seventh or eighth that question or similar question over time. So he's shortening the answers. He and D'Amico met on the top 30 visit, and they said they really clicked. But I think there's a lot more than just Alabama. I think these guys, their personalities, their mindset, like a commitment to the team in a way that comes out like guys know what the right thing to say is, but then there's other guys where it just kind of flows out of them. And he reminds me of D'Amico in that regard, that I think it's just very easy for him to worry more about the team than he worries about himself. And that's just it's a really cool thing in a 22-year-old kid. Most 22-year-olds, myself included, most 48-year-olds like myself are very self-absorbed.
Hey, Will,
I was a good team player, but like it's because I had it beat into me from a young age. Or like I feel like Will Anderson and D'Amico are just genuinely good people.
what was it like for you to see the 2023 schedule going down every single games? One, knowing that you're going to be a part of these games, and two, knowing that your first game is going to be against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, for us, I think we just focus on trying to get better every day. And when that time comes, I think we will focus more on that. But right now, we're just trying to keep building that team chemistry, making sure that everybody knows what they're doing, and making sure that, we're having energy and we're uplifting each other and having a good time doing what we love to do.
Good. Will.
It's good use of cliches and platitudes there.
KRC.
He's a veteran already.
Think about your past rush repertoire, things that work for you out loud. What are some things you feel like from some of your more effective moves, or some things you're eager to experiment and try? Try to slow down.
I have no idea what he said there.
Yeah, most definitely. I think one of the biggest things for me is just now going from college to NFL, everything is way more detailed. So really just clean up the moves that I already used and making sure I'm perfecting those moves, is like forklift, things like that, and such, all those moves. So just dialing in really to my technique and making sure that I'm detailed with my hand placement, with my footwork and everything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So in talking about, I'm guessing the question was something about building an array of pass rush moves. I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions I see, is this notion that a guy needs to add pass rush moves. If anything, like most guys just need to refine. And, JJ had like two really effective moves. A lot of guys have two really, really effective moves. And then they'll have counters, or they can put things together in a chain, but it's really important. He mentioned that forklift, when he's able to get a guy going upfield with his speed enough, or to lunge out at him because he's worried about his power, to just post that arm up and forklift that arm up. That's something he's really good at. He's just got to get even better at it now that he's in the NFL. So he's focused on the right thing.
Is there a goal for the year statistically, or is it more just about being impactful and your presence well?
Yeah, the second part.
All right, now we got to try to hear that. He said, is there a goal for
Hand placement with my footwork and everything like that.
Is there a goal for
the year statistically,
or is it more just about being impactful and your presence well?
Okay. Is there a goal for you statistically, or is it just a matter of you being yourself or something like that?
Yeah, the second part.
So the second.
Cole Thompson's
I don't think he heard it either.
little two-part street. When you were at Alabama, Nick lined you up more so as a 4 technically, you were the defensive line, correct?
Yes, sir.
So when you were there, can you talk about the differences about hand placement and finesse moves where when you're going up head-on against tackle versus take on the outside shoulder and how you go ahead and win those matchups?
So he's talking about go into detail about his pass rush and stuff like that.
Well, being at Alabama, they play me very versatile. So when we go to any type of flex defense, I was already playing a 5 technique, which, I'm kind of used to playing on the outside of the tackle. So, the 4 was just an adjustment for me, but my regular position was always, hand in the dirt, 5 technique and stuff like that, keying the outside pad of the tackle. So I'm kind of already used to that. I've been playing that kind of like my whole life since high school, regular defensive end. Alabama just used me in more different ways, differently, but I've had that experience.
Yeah, and I think some of it is, I think it's sometimes overstated how much they're going to change. I feel like I'm partly responsible for that. But I think that he is going to be more singularly focused on playing defensive end in a 4-3 without having to worry about a lot of other things. I think if you think about couple guys, Mario Williams, his rookie year, they had him moving all over the place because they were so in love with his physical potential that they wanted to do everything with him. And it was the worst possible thing they could have done. They needed to just let him play defensive end. I think if you think about Whitney Merciless, there were years where they really asked Whitney to do a bunch of things. Now, this is when he was a veteran player, but Whitney's stats dropped because of that, because A, he wasn't rushing the passer as many total downs, but also B, you just don't get into that groove. A lot of really good pass rushers, you might get, 10 really, really good, like, hey, this is 100% a pass rush passing situation. There's no chance of run whatsoever in a game. And you really want to be able to set guys up with that. And if you've got all these other multiple linebacking responsibilities, or if a lot of times you're just supposed to jam the tight end or play run first or what have you, it's hard to get into that flow. So I think just getting into a flow of every single down doing the same thing, it's going to be big for him.
Time for a few more. Go ahead.
Well, what was your reaction when you guys drafted Toto? What can you tell us about him as a player?
Yeah, all I know is I picked up my phone super quick and I just said, let's effing go. And that's what I texted to him in all caps. I mean, just to have a presence like that, in the building, somebody that I played with, got to connect with, and I know what type of person he's about. He's very smart, high IQ. He's going to work every day. He's going to bring his A game every day, but he's going to bring others along with him. So I'm really excited for him to be here, be a part of this, and to be playing with him again.
The other thing about To'o, I need to do a video on his Alabama did like a 4-part web series with To'o. And I watched like the first 2 minutes. It looks like it might be really good. And it doesn't have that many views. So if you just Google that, the Alabama YouTube series about To'o, might be some good viewing for you after the Astros tonight.
We're going to close with Sarge, Landry, Ken, and Adam.
Well, going to Alabama, there was a lot of pressure living up to being in that institution, playing for a coach like Nick Saban, and now the Texans brought you in and gave up the draft picks to bring you in, drafted you number 3 overall. Did you feel any pressure on you as far as coming into this organization, or are you just like, I've already been through this, going through the University of Alabama?
In case you couldn't hear that, Sarge asked if he felt pressure coming into this situation after the organization gave up so many draft picks and whatnot, or was he prepared for it by Alabama?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. One, just going to Alabama, I experienced that at such an early age. But here, the coaches do a phenomenal job, the GM, the owner, everybody. They made it very clear, just come in here and be you. It's no pressure. Just come in here, be you, have fun, bring energy, and just be together. I think that's the biggest thing that they harp on a lot that I'm really understanding is it's no pressure. You've been playing football all your life. You're just going out there and doing what you love to do. And there's no pressure to doing that. Just been doing everything since you've been doing since you were 5 years old. So that's what I really appreciate about the coaches here and the players here.
It's funny because D'Amico talked about that same thing about not putting extra pressure on these guys. And I think there is something. I was speaking to a group of salespeople at a company where I know how they select for these people, and how they hire. It's incredibly selective, and they basically only hire super competitive people. But somebody asked me a question about motivation, like how do you find motivation? And it was funny because, like, okay, this isn't like I'm speaking to 19-year-old kids that might be trying to figure out what they're doing or what they're going to do. But a lot of it for people that are just naturally motivated to begin with is just in engineering your environment around you and being sure that you're around people that support your goals and your dreams and aren't dragging you backwards, but they're actually helping you, or that they share the same hopes and dreams. And I think that's where D'Amico is coming from, because I've heard him talk about in San Francisco, when he was asked, like, how do you motivate these guys to be so physical? He said, I don't have to talk to them a lot because they're the right kind of guys. And when you set a certain standard, they're going to rise to that standard. And I think that's what D'Amico wants these guys worried about playing football. And if there's enough of the right kinds of guys around, then that's all you have to do. And all the extra pressure and a coach trying to turn the screws on them sometimes can be counterproductive. So I like this. And Anderson's the kind of guy you can have that conversation with. He's not sleeping through his alarm clock many times, I'm sure. I'm guessing.
Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610. Why 51? How did we come to 51, and what was the thought process behind that? I know it seems like a small thing, but that's got to be a little bit of thought put into it.
So Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610, was asking how he came up with number 51, which is his number in case you missed it.
Yeah, really, it's just the number they gave me, right now for rookie minicamp. I mean, just being at Alabama and them giving me the number 31, my coach told me just make a name out of it. You know what I'm saying? So if 51 decides to stay here, I'm going to do my best to just try to make a name out of it and just be me. So, I mean, numbers really don't matter to me.
So to tap the brakes on buying the 51, then, is that?
We shall see.
Landry's like he's trying to submarine jersey sales somehow. He says, so tap the brakes on buying the number 51. No, don't just buy go buy the jersey. He's not gonna change it during camp. He just said he doesn't care about it. I got to talk to Landry about this tomorrow, Monday. I think he genuinely doesn't care about it. Sometimes people just don't care about some things that other people do care about. And like the number. I got number 91 my freshman year in college, and I had no clue or attachment to it. And I was lucky enough to have it my entire career. But I feel like if in my 11th season, all of a sudden somebody had told me you're 73, I'm like, all right. Well, actually, 73 is pretty rough. If it was a 90-something or a 50-something, I'd take it. I think he says, go buy your 51 jerseys.
Couple more.
Hey, well, can you talk about what what the family texts have been like these last couple of days? And what have you shared? What they encourage you to do? You talk a lot about your family and that text that you guys have.
Yeah, most definitely. So, my mom,
So Kim asked you about his family, and the group text that they have where he's at least when I've heard him mention it, they're not afraid to jump in and start criticizing him after a game with his, is it 5 older sisters? 6 older? He's got 87 older sisters or something. It's them and him. So you can see why he's so polite. It's been drilled into him. He's been around a lot of civilized people. And by that, I mean women,
an hour ahead, so she's already up. So just to wake up to a text message saying, have a good first day at rookie minicamp and have a good day today. Those are the kind of things that keep me going because we have such a tight relationship. And all my sisters been texting. I just left and I miss you already, all this other stuff. But, I was kind of ready to leave, just kind of be ready to get back to a team. And they understood that because they know how much I love the game and just knew how much I was, ready to get back to being on the team. So they understood. But my family's been super supportive since I've got drafted into now. And like I said, I just have to, give them a big shout out because I love them and they support me so much.
And one other person I'd mentioned has just all older sisters, Tom Brady. I don't know. I mean, maybe Tom Brady's good enough for you if that's what he ends up being. The outside linebacker or defensive end equivalent of Tom Brady.
Adam in the back.
Will, when we were with you in Kansas City, we talked about how excited you and CJ were to kind of be the story of the draft and help with this rebuild here. Yet these couple days, Coach says it's like learning a new language, starting from scratch. Can you talk about maybe the patience you have to have? Obviously, the buzz is there, the fans are excited, but this is kind of just baby steps for a long process.
Yes, most definitely. Like I said, I mean, with the NFL, everything is more detailed. And it's a lot of more sacrifice that have to be made to understand and grasp everything that the coaches are telling you to do, all the playbook and everything like that. And, the difference from college to now is you have so much more free time. So you have to find a routine and get that routine and know how to, what you're going to do at this time, what you're going to do at this time. But everything is just detailed, you know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest thing is just learning their language, learning their verbiage, and understanding, what they want and just understanding that. So that's just kind of been the biggest adjustment right now.
The free time, that's real, man. It's, the phrase, what is it? Idle hands are the devil's workshop, whatever it might be. That's where guys go north or south after that first season, especially. This year, he's still going to be busy. But you come home, the biggest adjustment your rookie year for me was you come home, and if you've got a place by yourself, like, oh, look, it's just me and nobody else. After you've spent 4 years being surrounded by all your best friends all the time, it like you got to make an effort to actually go out. So that's where I was lucky enough. We lived in an apartment complex that gave us like crazy. We were paying like $600 a month for our apartments. It was absurd. So like a lot of young players stayed there, and it was really cool. It was like the athletic dorms, and I don't know where the Texans are on that right now. We need an athletic dorms.
Last one, Brooks. Just all right.
Yeah, if you were talking about your connection to D'Amico and that, but I'm curious on your end, just from Alabama, what about being from a small town, what of that makes you who you are right now? What are the things that...
So Brooks asked, what about being from your small town, your small hometown, makes you what you are? Something I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, when people actually start questions, it's crazy because, like, for me, I don't really be thinking about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming from a small town, I don't know, like, my mind just be other places. I mean, it's like now when people like, where's Dutchtown at? I'd be like, well, Dutchtown is in Henry County. So now I'd be like, well, somebody out of Henry County, it's more names out of Dalvin Thompson, Trey Dean, all those guys. It's more people that came out of Henry County. But, I mean, we are just doing something that we love to do at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? And for us to get this platform and then go back to our community and just spread awareness to what our community is about, where we're located at, and try to bring more people there and try to bring more athletes there and, try to uplift the community. I think that's what it's all about, just thinking towards, where you come from and just being from a small community.
Yeah, I feel like he's been thrust into a Chamber of Commerce role all of a sudden. Is that Henry County? The other thing about, too, some of these places in like Georgia and Alabama and like these little counties that spit out NFL players, like if the per capita in some of these counties of NFL players to high school football players is absurd. So that part of it, I think he feels like, okay, I've seen other guys make it to the NFL from my area. I think maybe the part he probably doesn't appreciate yet is that, unless, I don't know, maybe when he was younger he did. I don't think he's lived in a big city or he understands exactly like what living in Houston is like. I've lived in Jacksonville for 5 years before I came to Houston. And Jacksonville's a city, but it's very spread out. I mean, Houston's spread out, but Jacksonville's very spread out. So like Houston, I didn't really appreciate what it was like living in a city like Houston until about the first year I was in Houston. And you try to drive anywhere. You try to drive from Houston to Houston in less than an hour and a half. It's hard to do.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
He says thank you to everybody.
Now you've got
All right. I'm going to do either later tonight or tomorrow. I will do the Juice Scruggs one. Juice Scruggs. Come back, Seth. The Juice Scruggs, who I'm starting to like more and more and more. I keep envisioning myself trying to game plan and go against Juice Scruggs, like if I were playing defensive tackle, and he would be a pain in my ass. So he lives his hometown is about an hour and a half from my wife's hometown. So maybe this summer I'll go up and I'll try to beat him in an Oklahoma drill or something, and then go get surgery immediately at the Cleveland Clinic. All right, guys. Thank you. Everybody go enjoy your Astros, and we'll do Juice